Hi and welcome to Wild Time Adventures with me, Ray, adventures with affordable watches, and today we're going to be checking out three fantastic cool Casio calculator watches. We're going to be checking out the CA53, we're going to be checking out the DBC611, and lastly we're going to be checking out the DBC32 for a shootout. Now, Casio calculator watches, generally speaking, have 5 features. Number 1, they're fun. Number 2, small and lightweight. Number 3, not water resistant. Number 4, they are full of features, some of them obsolete. And number 5, immense pop culture cachet. Now, let's get into it. Hello. If like me, you obsess over this most brilliant of hobbies, why not like this video and subscribe to the channel? Thanks, you're a boss. Okay, hi and welcome back. So this time we've got 3 lovely classic Casio calculator watches to shoot out today. Do watch to the end to get to my recommendation of which one I would choose if I were only going to purchase one. Well, you know, I would say to anyone, yeah, buy all 3, but hey, you might be you might be just choosing to have one Casio calculator watch as part of your collection. Okay, I'm going to do the side-by-side comparison and get some different pieces of information out of the way early before I get more deeply into their design and functions. So let's get dimensions and pricing out of the way early on, and we'll come back to functions and other aspects and considerations in a little while. So let's do dimensions, weight and pricing. Okay, so starting from the left here, we have the CA53W, a kind of a successor version of the CA50, which is the one in Back to the Future, the original one. This is a kind of a more modern successor. This particular design has been around since the late 80s. In terms of its dimensions then, 34.4 across, 43.2 lug to lug, and a mere 8.2 thick. So this is really diminutive. It only weighs around about 25 grams, so nothing. You hardly know it's there. And this strap is really supple and lovely. Price-wise, you can usually pick these up for about £30 in the UK. You know, what can you get for 30 quid these days and be this iconic, I ask you? So there we go, that's the CA53. The DBC611 then. So this one, again, a modern successor of earlier 80s watches. This one's been around since 2011. Modern successor to the late 80s DBC610, I understand. And this one, so actually a little bit narrower than the CA53, actually. It's 33.1 across, but it is longer at 46.5 lug to lug. And then still very slim, 8.7. I mean, obviously really thin at the keypad part here that kind of forms around to your wrist. Obviously, it has a stainless steel bracelet with the usual adjustable Casio clasp on it. Weight-wise, it's the heaviest of the 3 at 48 grams, but still extremely light. You can pick these up for around about £50 in the UK if you shop around. They are getting harder to come across. You know, they're more abundant in the kind of usual UK retail spaces at a higher price, £60–70, but you can find them for 50 if you're willing to take a punt on Amazon, and probably a longer delivery time to here in the UK. So yep, there we go, that's that one. And then lastly, we've got the DBC32. So this one is a bit of a bigger boy. So it is 43 mil across if you count the protruding buttons here. 50 lug to lug, so you know, quite a bit bigger there. And at the thickest part, 12 thick, as you can see again, the keypad part thinner and forms around your wrist here. Weight wise, 37 grams, so somewhere in the middle. Price wise, again, getting harder to find. So these have been around since 2007. Again, modern successor of an earlier 1989 watch. Harder to find. I did find this for around about £35, but you know, they go up as high as £50 here in the UK now. So getting a little bit harder to find. Okay, so that's the comparison side by side. Now let's get more deeply into the functions and design elements. First of all then, the CA53, I've taken off gloves now because impossible to operate these tiny buttons and so on with gloves on, I'm afraid. Okay, right, so let's have a look. What have we got here? We've got a display that just has one row of numerals here, a lot less information. It tells us it's Thursday. If you want to see the date and so on, you've got to press the button up here, the divide button, okay, and then you get day, date, the two numerals of the year here. There we go, so you get that. No backlight whatsoever, and it doesn't care. Useless in the dark, no good. Okay, and then design-wise on this, we have a lovely bit of blue text, water resist, alarm chrono, and a yellow-ish water resistant symbol. So nice design elements there. Love the kind of orange fonts and kind of light silver lettering on the keypad here. The resin glass is quite nicely finished on the watch display itself, and it's quite nicely finished on the kind of resin panel that goes over the rubberized keys to the keypad here. As I mentioned, the strap is extremely supple. I'll put a wrist shot in here of how it looks. It forms to your wrist so well, really nice. Kind of hard resin buckle here and soft keeper, you know, perfectly robust, nothing wrong with that. That doesn't feel like it's going to break to me. A little bit of flex in it, I suppose. So that is quite nice. As I mentioned, these are not waterproof at all, not water resistant, splash proof at best. I really wouldn't risk it, not even in the shower with those kind of calculator buttons on there. Functions wise, this is quite limited compared to the others. So we've got a calculator here and basic functions, basic operations to the calculator, I should say. One alarm. You can adjust it by pressing the adjust button here. There we go. And then you can advance using this mode button here and use the numerals on the calculator keypad to change that, for example. There we go. Right, there we go, back to that home screen there. So we've got, there we go, so we've got a calculator, we've got our alarm, we've got dual time, we've got stopwatch that operates like this, using the calculator keypads, the plus key, start, stop, reset using the 0, there we go. That's that. So this is what feels quite different to other Casios. You have to use the calculator keypad to start functions off or store data as in the other ones. So this, by far the most basic of the three. Lovely design, nice and light, nice and comfortable. Okay, next, let's get into the DBC611. So this is the first of our two data bank watches. Okay, so design-wise then, this time a lot more information on the face here. So as you can see, as well as the time of running seconds, we've got day, date, month, year. So wonderful to have all of that information here. The design, again, really appealing with those orange numerals. Love that kind of retro futuristic panel here for the calculator buttons here. Really, really nice. It just looks wonderful. It feels so nice. Harder to operate though, although surprisingly not impossible. You don't have to have a nail to do it. You can kind of do it with the pressure of your thumb or whatever you're using to operate it. So that's fine. Let's look at the functions then on this. So we've got a data bank. You can put 25 entries into there. So you can see that I've got an entry in there at the moment. If you press the adjust, you can enter your data here. So you can put names and letters up here using the mode and AC buttons here. If you go across to the numbers down here, use the keypad for the numbers. So you can, store phone numbers and so on. I mean, completely ridiculous and obsolete, but someone might have a use for it for storing things offline. That can't be hacked, I suppose. We could look at it in that way, or it's just simply a bit of fun, isn't it? Okay, so let's come out of there. Okay, so we've got our data bank feature. We've got calculator, operated using the keypad, of course. We've got some alarms. Let's have a look at those. So we've got 5 alarms here, plus a chime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, just operating it with my thumbnail there, you can see. Okay, we'll go back there again. Okay, stopwatch. Okay, could start that going here, start, stop, reset. So we don't have to use the keypad for the stopwatch, unlike the CA53 here, more familiar to those of us who've got lots of Casios. And then lastly, we have got a dual time function with the home time at the bottom there, which I guess can be useful for tracking a second time zone. Backlight, let's put some B-reel of the backlight in for you. It's okay. It only lights up the left-hand side of the screen though. It's pretty weak, a bit like a Casio F91W in that regard. Has got an auto light feature, but the light is so weak that it doesn't really help you there. That's a kind of a deficit of this. Okay, so in summary then, this one, love the retro futuristic look of it, a little bit more dressy than the other two. Lots of great functions, shame about the light, I suppose. Okay, and then lastly, the DBC32. This one, essentially, just a bigger resin version of the DBC611. In terms of the display here, we've got more real estate here and a slightly more modern look to it, I suppose. The kind of the letters are a bit more kind of pixelated looking, less gridded out than the other one. So I think this feels a little bit more early 90s to me in a way, I suppose, in terms of its aesthetic. The keypad has got raised buttons, unlike the DBC611. They are a bit easier to press, I have to say, although you have to kind of press the bottom of them to make them work, if that makes sense. Rather than press the top bit, because they kind of slant, if you can see, like that. Okay, the strap, bit longer. The resin buckle here, a little bit more flimsy, I have to say, than the CA53, for example, although it's still okay. Functions wise, it's pretty much the same as the DBC611, so I won't go through all of that again, but just to cycle through what that looks like. There we go. Okay, the light is much better. Illuminates the entire face and also has that auto light function like the DBC611. So this is the one to buy if you have a bit of a bigger wrist and if you need a decent light and you need a bigger display. The deficit on this one though is I don't think this has as much flair in the design. It lacks color, it's a bit monochrome. It feels more like a calculator than a calculator watch, if you see what I mean. So this, the least dressy, the least stylish, but perhaps the most practical overall. So let's bring them all back in together then. Which one am I going to choose overall? Which one would I go for? I would go for the least useful one, quite frankly, because for me, this is just a kitsch item. I can live with the fact it hasn't got a light. I don't really wear it in bed, don't really wear it at night. Just wear it in the day sometimes because it's so light and comfortable just to have on while I'm working if I need a glance at the time or I need to fiddle with something when I'm supposed to be paying attention on a Teams meeting or something like that, and you want something to kind of fiddle to get you through your day. So that's why I love it. It's so comfortable, it's so lightweight, and the Back to the Future reference does it for me. That was a really iconic movie for me when I was growing up in the mid-80s. We all wanted to be Marty McFly, didn't we? So there we go, there's our lineup. That's the one for me, that's the one for me. Okay, so thank you so much for watching through to the end. Please do like, subscribe, comment, let me know which one would you choose and why. Do you agree with my choices? Have you got any of these? Do get in touch, let me know. But for now, from me, Ray at Wild Time Adventures, thanks very much and bye for now.